Hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm a mom to 4. I homeschool, I love to read good books, and I like to share both of those things on this channel. So thank you for stopping by. Today's video is a homeschooling video, a highly requested homeschooling video about toys. Different types of toys that I use to help distract my twins, who are toddlers, they're 2.5, during our homeschool day. So I've talked a bit about this in my last video when I talked to you through my schedule. So I will leave a link to that video where I explain a bit about how I use different toys at different times during the day. Like for instance, I have specific toys that I use for the twins when I want to do some independent work with my kids. Like, so we're talking phonics and reading. But I also have different sets of toys that we use more together time, so table time. So when we're trying to do morning time or when we're doing like science and things like that. I actually just took a picture yesterday showing kind of the chaos of what happens around our table when we're doing science, but it might give you an example of what I'm talking about. I want to share some basic strategies I use to keep them busy, as well as my top 10 favorite toddler toys. And I'm going to focus mostly on the ones that really hold their attention, that tend to be open-ended, and that are not messy. So these are the toys I want to be able to utilize when I don't necessarily have eyes on them, if you will, when I'm either kind of listening to them in the other room or I'm watching them on a monitor. So my first strategy for helping with toddlers in your homeschool is flexibility, especially as we're talking about toddlers, so 2 and 3-year-olds. Is they're just into everything, they're busy, there's just a chance of destruction. I think one good thing is to expect disruptions and know what to do when there are disruptions, because you can't run such a tight ship with your homeschool and then expect your toddlers to follow suit, because they won't cooperate and they're just going to make things crazy. What I've learned is it's good to be able to move subjects around. Sometimes I get very stuck on my schedule, and if I'm able to kind of flex a little bit and be like, oh, well, this went badly, I'm just going to move science to after nap instead of before nap, and it'll be fine. Or I'm just going to switch this day with this day, or whatever. Just have that ability to let yourself do that. And then also, sometimes I have found that give yourself the ability to take large breaks. If I'm able to recognize that this is not going well, and maybe we just need like an hour outside, just do that and then regroup later. And it usually always regroups fine. So flexibility is kind of my first big strategy. Second big strategy is fill up their little love tanks. What I mean by this is pay attention and play with them first thing in the morning. And so I have actually scheduled this in, because I did not schedule it in last year and I didn't do as well of a job. But this year they have a time slot. It's after breakfast and morning time and before big kids skill section. Is I do like preschool, toddler school, if you will. Mostly I read books and play games and build puzzles and have some real intentional time with them. Then I feel like they do better using some of these open-ended toys that I'm going to share with you, because that's what they will transition into after I play with them and kind of fill them up. So I think that's really important, and it's worked really well so far this year. Third tip, have a very large toy rotation. And I know this is a harder one because some people like to minimize and all those, and I do too. I'm saying more like keep toys out of rotation so that they're, when you bring them back in, they're new. And it takes a little organization and all of that, but I have found really good luck with that. I feel like I've actually almost taken out 1/2 to 3/4 of all of our toys, especially the toys for the twins, for the toddlers. I've taken them out and I've stored them in different bins in different places, and it's really helpful because there's sometimes they won't have seen some of these things in a really long time, and then it holds their attention long enough for me to do the math lesson. Those are my main strategies, I would say. And let me hop into the toys. So I picked my 10 most favorite open-ended toys. And some of them, as I'm looking around, might have smaller pieces, so you kind of gauge where your kids are. But I use these with my boys, and they're 2.5 at this point. And they do fine with it. I'm not worried about choking hazards or anything like that. And so I will link all of these below. Some might be affiliate links, but I'll just find them wherever, and I'll link them below for you. So if you are interested in any of these products, check them out. They're so great. So let me just get started with maybe my favorite toy that they just play with over and over and over and over again. And they're called bristle blocks, which I feel like a lot of people probably have heard of bristle blocks, but my boys love them just because they can build them into anything. Usually it's cars, trains, kind of movement things, and there are little wheels that they can stick on there. It's very imaginative play, and they can play with these for a long time. Second one I want to highlight, they've been getting into more lately, which has been really fun, and that's the Melissa and Doug puzzles. We have a number of them. I just brought out the zoo one, farm one, the ones with the sticks, because they still need those. They can't do the ones that don't have that yet. That really helps them at 2.5. And so they use these a lot. It sometimes gets chaotic if I give them all the puzzles, but if I give them one at a time and then make them switch, they do pretty well. And if I kind of move them out and get all the pieces out on the table, that helps them as well. So they like these a lot. We maybe use these more during morning time, more because they're good table toys. So anyway, we love those puzzles. Next thing I just recently picked up for this school year and to have more toys in rotation were Tinker toys. And my twins like these. Now, they like these more if their brother plays with them, and that's okay. And that works for my current schedule because I have the big kids rotating in and out with the twins. And so Tinker toys have been a really fun distraction toy. So these ones I highly recommend. Awesome set. Another thing we like that's just very much a classic toy that I know most families probably have are Mr. Potato Heads. And so we have a variety of different sets. We have some of the mini sets. I think it came with the Toy Story 4 last Christmas, but we just have a bin of all the parts and pieces. They just build away, they make all the different faces, and then they start chucking it usually. But by that time, it's given me enough time for the big kids. So I highly recommend the Mr. Potato Head. It's also great as you're teaching eyes, ears, nose, mouth sort of stuff too. So it's good kind of preschool material as well. I just realized I didn't bring these out. I like Duplo blocks. And so we have a big set. I feel like most families have a big set of these. So I'll put a picture up here. But they love these because they're big. They can easily manipulate them. They can build huge towers. We have ones with wheels so they can make cars. So this is a big hit in our house. And we actually have the Duplo blocks available all the time, but sometimes I take them specially upstairs for the twins to play with during the homeschool day. So it works out really well. Next on my list can get a little messy, but they really do love these, and that's magnets. So we have the magnet tiles. I don't know, I'll make sure to link these, the ones that are triangles and squares. We also have these really small ones, which used to be more of a choking hazard. Now they're not, they don't put them in their mouth. But what I really like about having lots of different magnet options is I have 2 magnetic cookie sheets, and so I take those upstairs with the magnets, or we use those on the table, and it contains the mess a bit, and it's really fun for them to kind of play back and forth with those. So they could play with these for a while. So that's another good open-ended toy. Another thing we have, which I will put a big picture up here, is the Melissa and Doug train set, the wooden train set. We have loved it. We have played with it for years and years and years. And the twins are now just kind of interested and can sit there and build. And it's really fun. They make tons of different setups for the tracks and different things like that. I have one of my boys is a little bit more focused than the other, and he will sit and play with this stuff forever. And so we love this. This is another toy that I have available all the time just because it's in a big bin and it's really heavy, but it's always a hit because it's open-ended. Okay, next, another classic, Lincoln Logs. My twins love these. They're still kind of a little bit struggle with the fact that they don't hook together, that you have to have them on a harder surface or something like that. So this is another toy that works better when the big kids are around, but the boys still like to play with these, and they will play with them for a while. And they usually get a little bit more creative than making log houses. They don't really make anything in particular, but they can kind of entertain themselves with these for quite a while. Another toy that I recently picked up for this year is the sorting pie. So the super sorting pie, this is great. It has all the different types of fruit, and it has the tongs, so you're working on kind of that fine motor skill. It's great for 2 and 3-year-olds. And then you can work on colors, you can work on different shapes, you can work on numbers because it has different cards that you put in the bottom for them to match it up with. Okay, so the last toy is maybe not exactly what you would expect, but it works really well in our house, and that is just Legos. So my son, my older son, who's 6, he loves Legos. He has so many different sets. We have a huge bin of Legos, and he usually does not let the twins play with them too much, but we're able to sometimes pull out a set or just a big bunch of Legos, and the twins will sit and play with them. And it's harder for them than, say, like the big Duplo blocks, but they still can do a pretty good job, or they can kind of play with some of the things that the big kids have already made. But yeah, those are my main toys. And we have some others like cars. My twins love cars, but again, those are out often. So anyway, I hope this is helpful for you. I hope some ideas for what toys to bring out, especially in those toddler years. And I hope some of my strategies are useful. And please share if you have any other toys that you use in this kind of 2 to 3 year old toddler phase. Would love to hear more, and I'm sure anybody who watches this would also love to have more recommendations. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for stopping by and watching. I hope you got something out of this, and please consider liking, subscribing, all of those things, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, have a wonderful day. Take care.